Hello, and welcome along to what will be the epilogue. The finale, the final, the end, the cessation of one chapter and the leave-off point for another. Mark is with us today, but is a little under the weather, so we'll be off camera. Before we talk about what happened after last week, let's talk about what came before. No inspiration to give out today, as there's no one left to take it. You can't give it all to Fenric. But I thought we'd have a little bit of a mixed up pop quiz and recap. Let us start.
Cool.
A long time ago in a tavern.
Long time ago.
I believe the tavern was called the Wayfarer's Rest.
Oh, it was.
Where 5 sat at a table for 6. Who took the 6th seat repetitively?
It was another.
Hold on, I'm going to tell you his name.
Well, it's one name, only one name. That's not going to help you. Josh, do you want to give your point, and then Rico can try and fill in some names?
I think it was a spellcaster of some sort, maybe a bard, but I don't know it.
You're going with one, okay. One is good.
Well, that was Colette.
Ooh, Mark, just rip it out.
Hold on.
As
I remember, it was Mavelos who came and sat first.
I cannot tell you the order, but I can tell you that all
I thought you were asking the order.
No,
anyway,
all 5 of them came and sat
who would
with you.
become... Who would become Draculis Vagar?
Yeah, Draculis Vagar, indeed. This is probably the one you remember, Josh. Ellis. The spellcaster. Yeah.
That's him.
You guys interviewed each of them, but ultimately declined all of them. And then you set out on your first quest. Can anybody tell me what the very first quest was that you headed out to do?
To go help a sick dragon.
That was a long-term goal, but your short-term goal was not to save the dragon.
Was it to do the deal with the bandits who
What did they take that you needed to return to an old man?
a pocket watch?
Oh, hey, one pocket watch returns to an old man. As you headed down, you dealt with the bandits who were paving the road to glory.
Yeah, because they were promised work.
Moment. They were promised work and they did not get it. After that, you defeated the bandit leader in his cave. Where was the cave?
By a cliff.
Yeah, like behind a waterfall.
Behind a waterfall. Oh, look at this. You guys remember? This is nice. He was a warlock and you murdered
And
him.
the RuneScape is going off.
This was his lair.
It is very...
Anyone remember the bandit leader's name?
Oh.
Fuck
No,
I
it
just
was
know that the little skull is on my list of things that probably should be.
That's his.
it was like his phylactery now.
It was,
wasn't
yeah. It was a phylactery of another person. It was his patron. It was his patron's phylactery, yes, exactly. His name was Damian, which Toothy used repetitively as a call to his own glory, or to the group's glory, for quite a while, actually, when I was flicking through and watching back. And finally, you made it to your dragon, but somebody else made it there first. Who?
Oh, it was a priest.
Yeah.
Heal the dragon, indeed, it was a priest.
It was like a dragonborn priest, I think. He was.
That's pretty accurate. Yeah, I think probably about as close as we're gonna get. I do have notables. Is it? No, roadside encounters. Here you go. Here's the bandit, Damian.
Yeah.
And the priest was Varus. Yes. Then you got to the dragon. He was very pleased with your work and gave you something in reward. What was it?
Gift of the metallic dragon boss.
I don't think it was.
No
What did we
idea.
give you that led to the whole reason for your traveling?
Bag of holding.
No. He
Gave you a map that's changed with the time.
oh.
Then you saw a deflated Valar Morghulis. No, that's not what I'm looking for. Draculis Vagar on the way down the hill. Anyone remember the dragon's name?
It
I've looked at it
yeah.
recently and I couldn't pronounce it, so I'm not going to try.
Bazolicosa Draconomir.
How could
Yes.
we ever guess such a bad?
what?
Bazolicosa Draconomir. Yes.
Of course.
I thought it was unlikely.
Oh yeah,
but,
right.
On the tip of my tongue, mate.
Just checking. You then returned to Vazrin. On the way, encounter some dwarves. And then a woman, a tiefling woman on the road. What did she want from you?
Save a child?
To save a child from the mines where he'd gone to rescue his friend.
Oh yeah.
Said child later became later was a wizard, but you guys were particularly disturbed by his cat.
Demonic rat.
Still a cat.
Yeah, because
It's
we
so-
had saved that cat
God,
previously.
Yes, you did. No, later you saved the cat.
Oh, really?
Yeah, on your way back into town, you saved the cat and gave the girl an arcane helped the girl spellbook, I think it was, and then later an arcane focus. Regardless, you then got into Mazrea and began investigating a thieving problem. As you spoke with various different merchants of Mazrea, including D'Souza and Ashleen, you found out that somebody had been stealing arcane supplies and shipping them out somewhere else. What race were they?
Tabaxi.
Taxi.
Anyone got a name? It took you quite a long time later to find the name.
Yeah.
It was like.
But yeah, you're right.
It was like.
Because I don't have the name, I just know it begins with a J.
Oh, it was Jalula.
Jalula.
It was Jugulus Vagar.
Yeah, I don't know what his name was in the end. I just know it began with a J, which is not much.
It wasn't like a noun or description.
No,
Like
he had a very human-y name,
Yeah.
not odd name,
Yeah.
not proper name. Oh, Julian? No, he's a merchant. Anyway, you guys that story went on for a while, but you went carousing around town looking for him. Instead you ended up dealing with a stone of undead animation in a tavern. You made friends with a bard in a tavern. Anyone remember her name?
Oh yeah, her name was.
You gave her a child to look after.
Yeah. Hold on, what was her fucking name? Jesus.
I think we have her song somewhere.
Does it start with an M or an R?
It does start with an M.
Yeah, it's
And then
definitely
goes to an R. Again.
Goes to an R.
Merrigan, indeed. Merrigan.
Yeah.
Yeah. And this is her singing. You gave her a child. Who she then invested into the college.
Which is not a
of
good
Bards.
idea considering she's just a fairy.
Yeah, true.
Look at her.
And then she, in return, gave you a lead of a treasure cove down to the south. You guys headed down there and watched a silver dragon take flight before going in and finding a tide stone.
But didn't we also speak with an undead ghost couple that was on a bench?
Yeah.
Yes, that did. Fucking hell.
Yeah.
I forgot about that. That didn't even make it into my recap, and I rewatched bits of the videos.
And then we also saw like a celebration of the god of the constellation of the sea, and
Yes, Karina's Day, where they cast things
Karina's
back
Day.
into the sea.
yeah.
And then you got back to the tavern and found an adoring fan and helped a cat out of a tree, and Pietro helped 2 young children get arcane focuses and become mages in their own right.
There's a lot of championing of young wizards in this campaign.
The group were then faced with a moral dilemma with a mean Tanner and his badly treated wife, which consumed a good couple of episodes and a lot of focus. That was quite a concentrated story. And then a rich noblewoman was like, "Go find my hellhound." And somebody else asked you to mentioned investigating a faraway mine, where people were said to be disappearing, and the hellhound might be there, was the thought. But before you could get anywhere near there, you got to Mazrea, where the town was under attack by goblins.
Also, before that, we had our fortunes told.
Oh, who told your fortunes?
The snake lady. Snake.
Madam, not lady.
Madam Snake person.
I wish her name was Madam Snake person. It is not. It is Madam Marvelous.
Madam Marvelous.
Madam Marvelous.
There she is. Definitely snaky. There is Maz 2.
Yeah, and only a few people got their fortunes told.
Yeah, I mean, in the end, it's sort of... Most of it did come true, but not all in the way that we thought. You went west and did lose a friend, but mostly because Jay left the campaign, not because her character encountered trouble.
Yeah,
you met a new friend, Corey.
Yeah. So it was like Raya, if you go to the west, fucking shit's gonna be bad.
Mm-hmm.
And so she did.
Yeah.
So everything turned out okay.
Yeah, exactly. You were told you would be betrayed. Boxer didn't betray you, but he did leave. There was all sorts of things going on in that fortune telling.
He betrayed my heart.
Yes, exactly. Then you got to Maz 2, which was under attack by goblins. You were able to rescue the missing mayor. And you found out there was some smuggling going on under the town. And found your missing thief, or at least information about her. Who was involved with the missing thief? Yes, Rides with Storms.
Rides with Storms.
Is that right? Is that the right name?
Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
Got a Ridey.
Yeah.
Ridey.
Storm Revealed was the name of that episode. And she told you that there was some dodgy cult stuff going on under there. Who were the cult?
Black Angel.
Black Angel.
Cult. I don't suppose anyone knows who they were trying, or what they were trying to do.
They were trying to.
It's written over there.
Ascend someone.
It's written over there. Did you say?
Yeah, they were trying to ascend someone now.
Yeah, to godhood or something like that.
Yeah, Kioru. They are trying to kill enough people in her name that she ascends to goddess. Yes, exactly. Blood and death magic. Oh, spoiler alert, they might be in chapter 2. Sorry, Joe, what did you say? I think your mic didn't trigger.
Oh, I just said cool, because it's on my, I wrote it down. It's like, oh, you know what? These daggers aren't that important, but actually, there's something that would be kind of cool if Fenric took, so we could stab the Black Angel cult with a Black Angel dagger eventually.
Then the group met Corey Stumblebump, who was trying to become amazed. Yeah, 21 episodes. In fact, episode 21 is called Corey Stumblebump. It's episode 21. Episode 20, Corey Stumblebump. Episode 21 is called Fishnuts. We'll get there in a second. Corey Stumblebump became part of the party, and the first thing you guys did was go to the next place on your map, on your treasure map from Harengon, which was another cave, where you got the Staff of the Sea Witch because you fought Fishnuts, otherwise known as Kuatoa. And then headed to Shumar, where the group did their most important quest of all time.
We found Oliver, the cat.
We found Oliver, exactly. The episode was literally called Oliver. Truly important. You guys also dealt with the rising of the dead in a church catacombs and helped dismiss a demon from a tavern room on the way. And then you escorted a caravan to Metella. What was in the caravan?
It was
Apart from Eileen.
a dragon, like a living dragon statue or something. Like,
Oh,
Yeah.
that
Yeah,
rings
taken from like up
Yeah.
north
Yeah.
of the sea or
Yes,
something.
a temple to the Green Dragon.
Right,
Why
right,
was
right.
the temple evacuated and why was everything rescued from it?
Just because of all the like demons.
Demons coming in from the north.
Yeah, the demon was summoning demons up in the north, which we've just left unchecked, so God only knows when we're going to deal with that problem. Probably in chapter 2 of our next campaign. Regardless, on the way, you fought a green dragon. Who helped you slay the dragon?
Your coolest
Bunch of-
Vagar or whatever.
Yeah, them again.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But also, like the entire caravan or whoever was able-bodied was also assisting. No, something
It
like
was
that.
fucking useless. It was just you guys and Draconis Vagar were hired together to escort the caravan.
Okay.
The
Fair,
other
fair.
guys were useless. You dealt with some green dragon mercenaries as well. Then you got to Metella, where you bought some soapstone carvings, one by one. Boxo, Josh. What did Boxo get as his soapstone carving?
I'd assume a dragon.
I don't think it was even soapstone. I think he got
wasn't
like an
soap-
actual
Well,
onyx one.
Yeah, you had to get an onyx one because there was no soapstone dragon. Rico, what did Pietro get?
Fuck, I want to say it was a spider.
I think so. I only remembered one of them, if that for what it's worth, and I'm not even sure it's the one that Joe did go with. I think it's one that Joe considered and didn't go with.
Well, that's my problem too.
Yeah. What about you, Mark? What did Corey get?
It was an otter because he always saw them floating out on the sea, and
I
he
remember
thought about
that.
how cool it was that they had their family that they latched onto.
It's true. Yeah, I had forgotten about that. Jack, what did Toothy get?
Mine in my inventory still. 'Cause
Oh,
I
yeah,
wrote
that's
it down. So I just had to look. So I cheated, but I got an emu. Because for my
And then emu were born into Mazrea that very moment. I remember now. The great emu of the sky. Did you call it or something?
there's the emu of the sky, and then there's also the rainbow serpent.
Oh
So
yeah.
these are
We did have a
two-
tale about them.
Is
later on.
it? Yeah, there's two like mythical beings within the stories.
And Vel, Joe.
I think the end point was the hermit crab, but I'm
Okay,
not
that's
sure.
the one I remember. The hermit crab, great. I know there was some debate, but I think hermit crab is what we went with. Yeah, and then you followed some strange clues from a well to another well to another well, leading to an episode being called Well. Where did the clues lead you eventually?
To a meeting
Came vault
with
thing.
Well, both. Yes, the
Right.
meeting came first. With a
meeting
silver
with,
dragonborn.
he was like a vizier or something.
Yes, he was the vizier of Metella, and he. Got this? No, I haven't. Yeah, he basically tasked you with dealing with the problem under the water where the moon tide vaults were opening. You guys headed down there, and I think a ghost ship was also emerging from the moon tide vaults.
Mhm.
That was pretty cool. You guys laid a guy to rest in a bag of holding. Do you remember that? Was it a bag of holding or was it just a bag?
It was I sewed up my tent to make a
Yes, that was
like
at the tent.
bag for
yeah.
him. Yeah,
Yes, you boarded a dead guy in a tent.
exactly.
I love that. And battled a horde of undead and then rescued the Tower of Ishastar from the Moontide Vaults, which, became a mainstay as well. Obviously, you met the servant and some of the rooms. You also never turned up to Grom's Rough House for pit fights. That's a shame, isn't it? Rolling backwards, in Shumar, you guys all heard rumors of a vampire. Urkval, the proprietor. If you had have gone into the cellar, you would have found a note saying, "Money troubles? We are the Sanguine Brotherhood, a noble healers guild who help the sick and wounded. Many of the poor souls in our care need blood to survive." He was basically feeding a bunch of vampires in a cellar underneath the town, and we just slipped by there and headed onwards. Where are we?
I think was it around Shumar that we helped the farmer with his there was that.
Oh, that
for
was
Ghost
way
It was on the road there.
because you
It
had
was-
Eileen.
yeah.
So it was on the road to Metella, actually, where you left.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
yeah, you guys did find a farmer. What was his problem? What was his deal?
He kept getting attacked by this giant
Undead thing.
revenant.
Yeah,
Yeah, Revenant.
because he killed him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, revenge mission. In the end, you
Yeah.
left them all dead in an empty farmhouse, which you later sent someone to. What did you send to the farmhouse?
A bunch of bandits.
Yeah.
Some
who'd
bandits.
been found to be-
Boxer was highly unimpressed. And that's why when you guys reached the town of... Ooh, where was the town? Giol. Fenric decided to leave. What happened in Giol?
Fenric decided to leave.
Oh, no, sorry. Boxo decided to leave.
So,
What were you escorting to Giol?
A
building
chapel.
seed.
Turned into a building, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
A church seed. Yep.
Yeah.
And then you stayed in execution and discovered the Liberator. And the very person who you rescued from execution turned out to be Fenric. And finally, our party was, well, not quite our final party, actually, but our next final party was assembled. Yes, the axe was brought
Penultimate
in.
party.
Yes, penultimate,
I mean-
exactly.
Well, depending how you look at it, once Fenric was there, that was the final party. Because
Yeah.
Yeah, he is the final party.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Oh, that's depressing.
Ouch!
Then you guys headed across the Savage West and found Braxat absolutely everywhere. They were brutal and definitely wanted to try and kill you guys. Probably going to see them again in the next campaign, albeit you'll be doing lots of running away because you are far lower level.
Yeah, they're a pain in the ass.
They are not cool. To be fair, most of them just want to go home now. And then in an oasis, Corey found the meaning of his music box. What was the meaning of his music box?
It was a connection to the Fae, and they wanted him to kind of collect thoughts from people so they could learn more about people in the material plane.
Yeah, and ironically, you then immediately headed to a place full of thoughts where people eat brains. And you went to the mines. And in the mines, you discovered mind flayers and an elder brain. And Corey's demise.
R.I.P.
Yeah.
R.I.P.
Corey was
peace.
laid to rest at Toothy's home. As you finally went to where Toothy was from, met his parents.
But we also saved a bunch of enslaved people, including...
Yes, I was getting there. But yes, after Corey was laid to rest, of course, Mark needed a new character. So when you guys rescued the people within, one of them was Nikha, a half-orc. Way of the Fire is not the name of it. Wildfire Druid. There we go.
Wildfire.
A Wildfire Druid. And then basically at Toothy's home, you guys realized the threat of the Black Dragon, the Zorakthin. And from there, you headed out to various people, Seer, and various different tribes of the Savage West to find allies. Who you killed all of them.
We didn't kill them. They killed themselves.
Macrasha fell first, I believe.
Yep.
And then Dazark.
Yes.
And then Lena.
No. Yeah.
You didn't kill them all, actually. One of them survived. And then Balthazar, who is in a ring of mind shielding. And then Tree's Shade survived. Unlike the rest of our party, everybody other than Fenric and Tree's Shade fell to Zorakthin, the Black Dragon. And there is where we ended. But there are some stories left to be told. Aren't there? We ended just about here.
Aw, really? You gotta rub it in our faces.
Yeah. And as you stand victorious, Fenric, over the dragon, and a little later after you sort of recovered the different items of your party and Tree's Shade recuperates and assists, the party sent to kill the dragon from Dargle Imvar were Draculis Vagar. And as they enter in way too late, as always, it is there that later on they will help Fenric detach the head of a dragon. And in the Tower of Ishastar, which you can raise in this area, by the way, it is big enough. You are able to speak to the servant and purchase a new room, a trophy room.
Mm-hmm.
Vast in its expanses, big enough to fit a dragon's head in it, amongst other rooms, amongst other things. Much of the gold will go to the people of the Savage West, but some of it went into Fenric's pocket and some of it into the servant's pocket, as the trophy room was created, and a small bedroom for trees shade temporarily. From here, Draculis Vagar will escort Fenric out, but not before Fenric. You recover the bodies of your allies. Be laid to rest, and I would like to ask the players where they think their bodies, their characters would be laid to rest. I think we'll start with the easiest answer, so we'll come to Jack.
Yeah. I'd be asked to. Oh, I can't ask for anything.
Well, you can as
it
a
would
player,
make-
yes.
Yeah.
You would have made your wishes
Throw you
known.
all into the acid.
I would imagine you'd all made your wishes known before heading into such a dangerous place. That's why I'm allowing you to choose.
I'd be my ashes would be buried next to Corey's, and just accept what have to. My spirit would have to accept whatever tree gets planted.
What about Pietro?
I have no idea. I suppose, I mean, I don't know that Pietro even spoke enough about his former life and his family that Fenric would even know where to start.
Well, as I said, before you guys went down into this particular cave, I think you guys would have spoken about your last, your wishes for your last rites. Would he have wanted his body returned to Gallania?
No, probably not. I think he'd just want to stay with you guys wherever we decided we were going to be laid to rest.
Yeah.
Is staying inside the tower in one of those like refrigerator capsules a possibility?
Absolutely. Yeah, it's a rest in a
You want
refrigerator
ice.
capsule. Nice.
Haunt the tower for all time.
What about Nikha?
That would also be really cool.
Would definitely have a funeral pyre. She would be burned. Not to have her ashes buried anywhere in particular. She is very much estranged from the home that she grew up in. So just to kind of return to the land in some form, be blown away in the wind.
Scattered to the winds of the Savage West?
Yep.
What about Vel?
So definitely on the cremation bandwagon, if only because I imagine that at least one... It was one of the things I didn't do as often as I wanted to, but I had a whole list of like different ways it looks when he teleports. And I did do some of them, right? But it's not like pop. Like it's always a thing, like he blows away in the wind or whatever. So I imagine at least one of those times it was like he burned off into smoke and ash and reappeared somewhere else. And so in that moment, it might be the slightest wonder if he was going to reform somewhere else. But of course, as that is not to be the case, I would hope to have Fenric keep his ashes in an urn in the trophy room. But if anybody ever looks, there's nothing in there. And whether that's because Fenric was in on the joke or something else more mysterious, I leave to the sands of time.
And Fenric, as you watched the funeral pyres of Nikha and Vel'zekiss, you're sure you felt a slight movement in your pack. When you reached in, there is an egg that Vel'zekiss took with him all that time. As you place your hand on it, there's just a slight tremor. But you're not sure what it means.
What egg? What are you
Vel'zekiss
talking
carried
about?
the egg
I can't
of
be
his
a
twin.
father.
No, Vel'zekiss carried the egg of his twin for all of his journey, right? Who didn't make it out. And then as Vel'zekiss' funeral pyre burns, you're sure that egg just once.
Did he Professor X himself and put his consciousness in his brother's body?
Who knows? The mystery is yet to be unraveled. After these people were laid to rest, Druid Vigar will persuade you with great difficulty, Fenric, that perhaps you should accept an accolade in Dargle Imvar.
An accolade? I shall be accepting multiple.
And Trey's Shade as well will be honoured there. You guys never made it to Dargle Imvar, but this is the Grand City itself. This is the Temple of the Great Dragon in Dargle Imvar, the capital of Gallania. And there you will be given not only a knighthood named Sir Fenric. You would be given your knighthood for defeating the Mind Flayers and the Elder Brain in the mines. An accolade once meant for Tooth and Claw, but unfortunately, as he is not here to receive it, you will get it in his stead. You're not the typical knight. You look absolutely ridiculous in bright shining silver armor.
I doubt that.
Well, perhaps you look great for a moment, but you'll look very ridiculous when you start trying to hide in it as it glints in the sunlight.
Oh yeah, this is just for show. This is, this will be in the trophy
you
room.
would have received, I will tell you, an honorary set of plate mail designed personally for you. Tooth and Claw, it was meant to be yours. The plate mail that you seeked for so long was to be yours as a reward for defeating the Mind Flayers. And then, Sir Fenric, you would be named alongside Tree's Shade. Sir Fenric and Tree's Shade, Saviour of the West.
And of all the people that the dragon would have enslaved and everything, I changed my title to Sir Fenric, the Breaker of Chains.
Breaker of Chains. Indeed. Something that your whole party was once focused upon doing. And as you return, first to Mazrea and then later home to the archipelago, you will see some of the lives on the journey back that you guys touched. You'll see a rebuilt Maztu, looking better than it did before. You'll see the fortune teller, Madame Marvelous, on the west, offering fortunes as you head into Mazrea. You'll see two young children, a tiefling and a girl, outside of Mazrea, practicing their magic as new students of the University of Mazrea. And as you head off on a boat to the archipelago, you'll see that you're sharing your boat with another party. As Dracula Cigar heads to another continent to make their names known. The troubles of the West, a little too much for them. They're looking for a bit of a holiday, a break in the archipelago. Fenric looking, of course, to become champion of the world, not just one continent. And at a later date, we may just find Fenric and the Tower of Ishastar in Chapter 2. But as we draw Chapter 1 to a close, I will ask you guys, as we always do at the end of a campaign or chapter, or the end of your life as a character. And we'll start with Rico, because he loves going first. What did you enjoy about playing Pietro?
A lot, actually. I guess at the forefront is the fact that he was a wizard, and wizards just cool, and they can do crazy shit.
Yep.
Just like the feeling of being able to solve a problem, or, you know, crush like fucking 10 enemies was really nice feeling, and a contrast from Torin, who was more like a
one-to-one,
you know, a one-on-one guy, exactly. So that was really cool. I really liked that, I don't know, being the smart guy and sharing that sort of like role with Vel'zekiss in some sense. And I guess what I liked the most about Pietro was sort of his assertiveness.
Mm-hmm.
And his, you know, willingness to like sort of take hold of a situation that had gone or that gotten a little out of hand, or be it like a talking thing or a fighty thing. So that was nice. Yeah, I really enjoyed Pietro.
Good.
And it's always good to do a nice voice.
Yeah. I'll come next to Jack. What did you enjoy about playing Tooth and Claw?
There was so much. I think one of the major things was, I think giving a fair, what I would say as somebody who's tries to really be careful about this type of stuff, but a fair representation of our First Nations people of Australia, to say, hey, like, you know, this is this culture that almost nobody knows about, and it's one of the has some of the oldest remaining cultures to exist on Earth. You know, stories going back 60,000 years that are still alive, and so to try to represent that, it was I think, you know, I tried to ride the line of like, not take too much inspiration, but also just take enough, you know, not take too little, and like, hopefully I did that.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
With little knowledge,
And,
you know.
Pardon?
Yeah, I had little knowledge of what you were representing, but it's felt that way.
It was really fun as well to just like, for you to give me the leeway to just like, well, you know, you just come up with shit about where you're from, just like, and you know, I'll just run with it. And I was like, that was really cool. It was really like, it was essentially having a creative outlet, you know what I mean? Like, while playing D&D, to be like, oh, well, yeah, well, these fucking, you know, these demons exist that fucking steal your children and walk sideways, and it's like, well, you know,
I'm gonna have a hard time. I've got 20 years of Mazrea to come, and I'm gonna have to remember all these details that Toothy created for the rest of the time.
It was also really fun having wisdom as a dump stat on a character that's fish out of water.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, so I got to, you know, I got to have a lot of comedic moments where it's like, what's a brothel? You know what I mean? Like,
what is a brothel?
It was just really fun and it was like, it was good because it allowed me to naturally learn as both character and player about the world. And I realized that when I realized I could do that, I was like, oh, this is fantastic. This is like, you know, like, because like James, like, your word is so rich, you know what I mean? And so I want to I wanted to experience that as like not coming across as just like, oh yeah, I guess my character knows this. Like, no, my character is really cloistered, and I like playing like martial characters for the most part, but so playing a martial character that has a Super Saiyan move of Smite is really cool. So, you know what I mean? Like, it was really fun to just crit, and then having your fucking crunchy crits just fuck shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just really like
They are scary.
wreck everything. That was awesome. And it was really cool getting to go home and being like, this is where I come from, and introduce everyone and have that moment with Corey and like putting him to rest, and like, fuck, like there's so many parts that were just so emotional, and like I really loved the emotional parts. So, okay, I think I'm done.
And to our final eminent character, I suppose, almost is that the right phrase? full duration character. Joe, what did you enjoy about playing Vel?
I got to be mean, which I like. It was like kind of the entire point, and it worked. So execution of plan was satisfying. It doesn't work all the time, obviously, but I like to be able to do it once. I mean, I like to be funny, and too often, either with this group or other times I play with other people and stuff, I'll come up with a character that I think is a really awesome character, and then I go, I don't know how to be funny as this character. So deliberately building it in, like even Hennick, right? Like he was like, sometimes I would say stuff and go, that wasn't Hennick, that was me. Yeah. Why was he so sarcastic? He wouldn't have been like that. So building that in and getting to do that was definitely fun. I think there's still a lot for me to think through if I continue to play various iterations of D&D, whether Sorcerer works the way either it should or I want it to or whatever. But there were definitely some, you get to break the rules and kick ass sometimes, and that was nice. It was a lot of fun. He was supposed to be, the other thing about like coming up with a character is like, particularly if it happens right away, sometimes like you're like, oh, this character's really good at X, and then you roll a 2 on something, and you're like, well, the whole idea of the character doesn't even make sense now. Pretty early on, there were a number of moments where Vel'zekiss got to justify his belief in his own power. Like, it was like, oh yeah, he just wrecked that up, you know what I mean? Or did something really unusual. So that was really nice. It was a fun exercise in building around a fairly specific mechanical flavor. Like, a lot of the stuff, like, I didn't actually physically teleport that much, other than ride the lightning, which was something I hadn't foreseen being so awesome and cool for the character, and it was. But still building like all the other options to be things that could fit that way.
Obviously being the main one I think of, but not very cool.
Yeah, so a lot of fun for sure.
Next longest standing, Josh. What did you enjoy about playing Fenric the Swift?
Fenric. Well, I think I'm just about rogued out for a good long while. It was really nice going from Boxo, who was a melee rogue, to a ranged rogue. That was nice. I don't think if I stayed as Boxo, being a melee rogue would have survived the dragon fight. No. I think being a rage. Even though I think I preferred the combat style of Boxo, I think Fenric's was probably a lot stronger. I really like playing someone who's... I feel like a lot of my characters have this kind of self-confidence, but it was nice playing someone who's so overtly that, like, he doesn't just believe in himself, he thinks everyone else should believe in him, no matter what. And it was really fun having this kind of playing a kind of character whose ego is so unshakable that like nothing really
phases him. And it ended up being validated as well.
Yeah, exactly. He has this kind of like this air about himself, like, well, everything will work out because I'm amazing, and so everything will be amazing. And it was a really fun kind of thing to play with that I've not really played with before.
And Mark, though she was a short-lived flash fire, what did you enjoy about playing Nikha?
With Nikha, I had a very strong philosophical goal of burn away the constraints, burn away the things that are holding people down. But I was very unsure on how she would play socially. And I think going around the West and seeing people that were used to orcs and orcish ways, and the interaction between her and Lena of the different heritages that they shared, but also the differences in the way that they acted and thing. It was really cool to have all those different tribes and figure out how she represented herself and how assertive she was going to be on this is who I am, versus hey, I get that there's a lot of things, baggage coming with how I look and what my people have done, sort of thing. And so that was a really interesting thing to explore with her.
Yeah. And mechanically, you enjoyed?
I enjoyed having to decide more on what to cast and try and figure out the pacing of things, Corey was very like rote by the end of it. Of like, I knew what I was doing turn 1. Turn 2, I had a pretty good idea what I was doing, and then like by turn 3, like we were either done or I was like fighting to keep everybody up. Nikha, like, I was like, well, I could do this, and I'm not really sure if that's going to be good. And so trying to figure that out in a short time with her was fun, because also coming in with a like big toolkit, like this high level, and
a lot of
having
decisions,
familiarity.
Right?
Yeah,
it was very impressive actually. I mean, I think you all brought fabulous characters. Obviously, we also enjoyed Corey and Boxo, though we spoke about them more at the time. I'd like just very brief, if you can. Tell us what you enjoyed about everybody else's character. We're just going to go backwards. So, Mark, I'm coming straight back to you.
Cool. I really enjoyed like Toothy's enthusiasm, especially like younger Toothy. But then like there was a bit of a transition like after we lost Corey and like we're getting into like very serious threats, and like, you know, after he had done things like with his home, where there was this more like serious, like, you know, we've got to take care of people Toothy, who was like, you know, putting the rails on people, kind of going around places and like, you know, charging through doors, trying to like keep everybody controlled. Pietro and Vel kind of always shouldering the responsibility, even when they were very reluctant to do it. And like, all right, well, fine, like, let's figure this out sort of thing. Like, they definitely had the, like, we're running around with all these hooligans sort of, like, nature, and, like, somebody's got to, like, you know, make sure we actually get stuff done at the end of the day. And then, Boxo and Corey, I felt like had a like really like fun like pair of just like these two kind of innocent people, even though like they weren't like totally innocent, but just kind of like their outlook on like, you know, seeing the good in things and what have you. And then Fenric was always fun to play with Nikha, because Nikha was so much more like grounded and slightly serious about things. And just like seeing Fenric in all of his like over the top, like loud boasting, and her just like, no, that's not what it's gonna be, hair.
Yes, hair. What did you enjoy about Josh? What did you enjoy about other people's characters?
I mean, I liked everyone had such like a solid idea of who their character was. Like, I don't think there was like ever a moment where anyone really, like, I ever thought that anyone was like, even when we started, like when you first start with a new character, it's very like normal to be feeling them out and like not sure like what they'd say or how to react or something. But I feel like everyone had such a strong idea of who they were that I think even when we first started, it was like, it was really clear to see how everyone was going to interact with each other, and where, you know, like how, like, I could see where like the growth of where people could go from when they started, because everyone was so in it, and I think that's like really commendable for everyone. Also, I think like everyone chose like classes and subclasses that were really cool, that we've not really seen before in other campaigns, and I think like there was so much synergy that was really cool about everyone, like what everyone's abilities and stuff.
Yeah, 100%.
It was like, because I played like a little bit of a Wildfire Druid, but seeing Mark play it was like, it was just really cool to see it really fleshed out, and really like Nikha had such a interesting idea of like the burning away and rebirth of it all, and like the Graviturgy magic was so fun, like just pushing and pulling everyone around, just throwing everyone around. It was like because sometimes like having control spells and stuff in like a round can sometimes be a bit like, oh well, I didn't do damage, or I didn't whatever, but I feel like Rico really capitalized on every moment, which is really cool. I think with Joe, like I'm a huge fan of giving yourself like a niche and seeing how creative you can be with it, and I think you really exemplified that with teleportation, because like it could very easily be like 50 combats in there, like I teleport here or whatever, but you kept making it really fresh and really interesting. That it was always like, okay, how is he gonna flavor this? What is he gonna do with it? And then with Toothy, I mean, Paladin, I have a bit of a love-hate relationship with the Paladin class, but I think you played it really, really well. I feel like you gave Paladin a lot of nuance, because I feel like if you tried to play Paladin as written, you would break your oath within seconds of being in an adventuring party, because a party is too chaotic for such a rigid rule set. But I feel like you really showed a lot of nuance without really straying too far from your oath.
Yeah, embodying the spirit of it instead of necessarily the exact wording and line by line, which does help when you write your own mechanics, of course. But that makes it a little bit easier. But yeah, Joe, how much you enjoy about everybody else's?
Yeah, I mean, certainly everything already said, but
I am aware it gets harder and harder.
Yeah,
through the list of 5 we get.
I've got more stuff to say, certainly about everybody, but I don't want to be like, oh, I didn't think those things. No, I definitely thought those things also. But with Toothy and really with Jack, it was such a thorough, like, obvious, like, it's like part DM. Do you know what I mean? Like, James, you had a situation that he could fill in with certain things here, but it was obvious that there were ideas going both ways. Do you know what I mean? To create that richness, and what it meant was not only do the rest of us have a very cool thing to uncover, but we can uncover it through a character who helped us into that without main character problem. Right? Like, I never felt like, oh, we're on the fucking Jack mission, we're on the Toothy mission, you know what I mean? Even though for like half the campaign we were just exploring a lot of things that were like, oh yeah, this is from his world now. But it never became a problem, so that was awesome. Fenric, I also thought, like, not that I had any, I understand why you wanted to go as Boxo. I didn't have a problem with Boxo, but so what I mean is, I think Fenric was such a perfect adjustment to what you were having trouble with, right? Like, in other words, I don't want to say that and make you think I also thought there was a reason you needed to fix something, asshole. But it was for what you were seeing, in, with some incompatibility and stuff. It was just such a perfect. No, let's just boom, bold hero coming in, show off, do adventurous things. He can slot in there and just do the thing, which was really perfect. Nikha, yeah, this is kind of what Josh said, but it's almost exactly just the suggested flavor of the class. Do you know what I mean? But you did so much with it and such a perfect version of it in a short time without having to have some sort of too clever twist. You know what I mean? It was just like, no, this is exactly what it tells you Wildfire Druid is about, and I'm just gonna do the fuck out of it. So that was perfect. Pietro flying and hovering sideways and coming up at stuff. But just in general, the fact that he's, so I may praise Mark for going right on perfectly, but this was such a weird juxtaposition of like stone, earth, masonry, but I fly and hover all the time. Right? It was like perfect. It was very, very funny. And obviously, selfishly, Pietro was always such an effective bridge between Vel'zekiss and normal people. Right? He was always there to sort of go like, oh no, I do see that we need your input here, but so we can kind of talk conspiratorially over here a little bit without it seeming like it was just, I don't know, like us taking over or something like that. I don't know.
Oh, I agree. Jack, enjoy about playing with these characters.
Yeah, Pietro was just like the commitment to the same spells, even though James would be like, It does what's that one? The gravity well. He's
Magnify
like,
gravity.
it doesn't do that much. Magnify gravity. It doesn't do that much
damage.
damage. Why are you using it? And it's like,
No,
like,
it was never why are you using it.
that's-
It's why are you complaining about the damage it deals when it does it does no damage.
It's like that's Pietro.
Yeah,
like
that was
that is what he is and what he's doing, and it doesn't matter about anything else. And it's like he was so Pietro was so I can't think of an actual word for it. Pietro was just so Pietro. Like it was just he was you played it you played him to be like exactly what I imagine an Earth Genasi, if anybody would be like, what's like a just think of what that would be like, and you were like that to a T, and it was like fantastic. It was like it was just excellent in like the embodiment. Like, it was very emblematic of what, you know what I mean, that was sort of what it would be, to me at least. Vel'zekiss, all the fucking cool words that you came up with for your spells, man. That was the coolest shit ever.
And I
it
still
inspired
don't
me
know
to
the
do
words
a
for the chill
character for
touch.
Josh's campaign.
Nastami Tuck, is that it?
That one is Visnandi Tak.
Visnandi Tak.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's all Google Translate and permutations and things.
So it inspired me to rename all my spells and feats in Josh's campaign, where I'm a bard, and I have like things like, tritone and power chord, and for spells and stuff like that, and like because it's all like it's all thunder based damage and stuff like that, and We'll go Fenric first. Fenric was just such like sometimes in like when we were all feeling down, it was just like a breath of fresh air to be like, nah, fuck it, we're like this, we're awesome. You're like, I'm awesome. Like, just shit's awesome. Like it's like sometimes you just need a ridiculously optimistic, but if that's the right word, like just like determined character, you know what I mean, just to be like, yeah, well, shit's just gonna work out because it just will, you know what I mean, like it doesn't matter. And then like it did for him, and it fucking worked, and it's like he must be right, you know what I mean. And Boxo was just like I just want to like take care of him, you know what I mean, like I just want to be like, Boxer, I've got a room free, mate. You know what I mean? You can come over. You can spend as long as you need, on my couch. Like, just a lovable little guy. Just so knows the way the world works, but also innocent. Like, I don't understand how you managed to pull that off. Yeah, it was just incredible. Nikha, it was cool. You played a wise character very well. You know what I mean? Like, just like having conversation and being like I can't think of any examples, but like you were just so like, this is just how how like the I can't think of any like way to put it, but you just played a cleric who was wise very well. And then Corey, God, just the weight of his death was so much, and like it felt like loss, and that only comes from like having like a connection. And the little music box thing that Corey had, which I know we kind of forgot about, and I feel really I feel really sad about that.
Well, I
But
think it's because there was a bit of what's
I know, like, what
are
are we
these
doing
memories
with
being
it
taken
now?
permanently? What are they doing?
I know. But it was the coolest, like, to me, like, sorry guys, but it was the coolest, like, little custom item artifact thing that out of the lot. It was really interesting. And it had its own, like, little quest line because it was so cool. I think that's everyone.
Yeah. I think you guys brought a collaboration of incredible characters. And, I obviously, like Joe, I agree with everything that everybody said, but I would like to instead to just remember a few moments of the characters. My first thought is when Vel'zekiss twin-spelled Vortex Warp to get one idiot bumbling noble and someone's character, I don't know whose, out of the building with the animated objects when you guys fought the piano. That was just a moment that I just thought, this is what this character does. This is what this is. He'd so long been proclaiming, I'll just teleport you out. And everybody going, yeah, okay, cool. Like, knowing that, he has 15 foot of teleport to the left, and that's about it. And then level 2 came, and he got his sorcerer ability, and it was like, you out. And it was such a moment. And just to add to that, Joe, your constant reflavoring of the shattered glass that was teleported into a maelstrom or cloud of daggers was just like... flavor done perfectly. And speaking of flavor done perfectly, I have to commend you, Mark, specifically on maintaining that in some of the hardest, most difficult fights, toughest moments. Like, we were always seeing the flavor of when it came to both Nikha and Corey, but primarily with Nikha, thinking about like the different ways in which you embodied that wildfire. The moment that comes to mind, though, is not a combat moment, but instead, when asked about your room, the idea of having this little sort of almost rabbit run warren of rock underneath for your little wildfire spirit running around was just a beautiful imagery. A little combat nod to Pietro constantly pushing people back into Cloud of Daggers. Just get back in there, back in you go. But just the idea of him both in the most stupid way. Pietro was a rock, right? And I don't mean like he was a rock, but he was a rock, right? But he was also he was the steady for the character. And Rico, I've said before, probably not to your face actually, mostly to Josh, but one of my favorite things about you as a player is you are an enabler. You are somebody who brings people in, who finds the link between and brings things in, and you always need one of those at a table, and it's not an easy role to take. And Pietro was such a defining character to do that, to be, as Joe said, bridging Vel'zekiss with the normal, right? You always found a way of popping up to a room and bringing someone in, or heading up to the top of the tower and speaking with somebody, or just little ways of collaboratively funneling the group into a group. But of course, Pietro's defining moment was sliding up the side of a building like this. To Fenric, the book, the stupid book, the destroyer of dragons, the slayer of sausages, or whatever else it is that he is. The many titles was such a joy, and we could all join in on that. Letting everybody else in on your joke, or your not joke, but you know what I mean, in on your bit, your stick, your gimmick. Was such a clever way of integrating the character with everybody else so quickly. We knew exactly who he was as soon as he arrived. Popping in and out of the most niche and ridiculous cover, trying to hide in plain sight. But also, we knew who he was from the very moment that he joined the party. And I think that was something that was really enjoyable to just, it was a bit of a love to hate, but it was also a love to love. And that was really enjoyable. Everybody else has mentioned this, Jack, but the collaboration of the creation of Toothy's peoples, his past, his history, was a wonderful moment of surprise every time you brought me something new to somewhat wrestle with and work out. But this was embodied so beautifully in laying Corey to rest. What we saw there, every moment of the robbery. Is that the correct word?
Yep. Thank you.
I've got to get it right because you guys are going back there at some point. But everything about who Toothy was and why came to a culmination there. There were a few other moments that I have to bring up that I absolutely loved. His constant non-understanding of the money whilst also being the person carrying all the money was just a beautiful touch. The tenets on the back of your shield was a real sort of everything about Toothy was sort of set in who he was. We talked about being the breaker of chains, and you chose Oath of Liberty. And I think you played with a freedom that focused on everybody being free and everybody being who they were meant to be or who they want to be. And as a group, I think, the five of you collaborated on what was quite a difficult journey of finding, yes, we want to go everywhere and do everything, and we want to, help the downtrodden, whether it's a young boy who's lost his cat or
not a cat,
a noble who's being attacked by objects in his own house, or whether it's, a Harengon on the verge of being executed wrongfully. Whatever it was, you guys found a way of twisting that to your story and your character's defining story, and that to me was a total joy. Every one of you, I think, brought something incredible. I suppose it's just left for me to say, campaign highlights, and we'll start in the middle and work our way outwards. Joe, do you have any moments that particularly stick out to you or that you particularly remember?
Yeah, so lots of stuff that's already been mentioned was amazing. I don't know that what I have left is really momenty moments, but it was
silly
probably,
or poignant or whatever you want.
Yeah, well, it's probably the most straight up like adventurer campaign I've played, and like we really did do like a bunch of random like they didn't need to be connected because we were an adventuring party, go do some stuff, and it sort of hit all of those things. I did really like, in particular, some of the stuff that didn't fully play out. The cult, the including, I think it's related to them, the disguises, like the noble disguises that we found or whatever. Like so
that was related to the theft. Yes,
yeah,
the man who.
But even that, right? Like being not sure at the time, which things were part of the same problem or not. Like that was all that stuff was interesting. I did like you mentioned it earlier, but the Elder Brain blender situation. You mentioned the Elder Brain anyway. That was pretty good. Yeah, lots of stuff.
Second, Jack.
So the coolest fight was the Mind Flayer fight because I mean, like, even though it's sad to lose Corey, it was really interesting. You know what I mean? Like, it was like it led to a lot of cool moments. Like, led to like you could it's like, oh, instant RP moments for combat. You know what I mean? I just lost, I think, like a really good friend. So, and then just seeing Joe just with Vel'zekiss just like dancing around essentially as he's just fucking up this Elder Brain from a distance, just like there's nothing it can do.
Mm-hmm.
That was awesome. So that was my favorite fight. And then I really like the mystery. With the solving the who murdered the Dyer in Mazrea.
Yeah.
And then Boxo just being like, fucking no, like, you're all wrong, and I'm sticking to that. And it's like you're afraid a lot of the time. You're afraid to do that in D&D. I feel like I'm afraid to do that because I don't want to like go against what the party thinks. You know what I mean? But like as a player, I'm like that. But it's like that's not how fucking shit works. And like Josh, like fucking like props to you, man. That you're like, no, like Boxo's. That's the way he feels, and that's the way he thinks. So like, what fucking it's up to you guys. You know what I mean? It's you got to deal with that shit.
He's alive.
And then eventually he's like,
it ended the character.
Yeah, I know. Eventually he was like, look, you guys are not for me, and it was bad, sad. It was bittersweet. You know what I mean? Like it was, but then, and then all the little moments like I just got to pull out like this is like I'm building a very specific type of like a dwelling in my room, that's of my culture, and like, oh well, I'll tell you about the frog that drank up all the water, and I'll just the fucking the great emu in the sky, and just all the shit I got to do because you let me, for whatever reason, and it was awesome, and it was like,
What's awesome?
It was like, oh yeah, there was like I would have called that a goanna. You know what I mean? And it's like, what the fuck is that? It's like, well, it's a lizard thing. You know what I mean? And a couple of times, Vel'zekiss, I said, I called you a goanna, and like, we just sort of brushed past it because it's like, what do you do about that? You know what I mean? It's like,
What
okay.
do you do about that? Yeah, indeed. Josh, any moments that stick out for you from the campaign? Any highlights?
Yeah, I'm actually. I mean, there are from like the past, but I'm actually gonna talk about the final dungeon. Even though we were quite like exploratory in the dungeon, which I wouldn't have any other way. I want to go down every corridor. I want to go into every room. But I feel like the way you, James, described everything going on, and then in turn the players describing what they were doing, and then in combat what was happening, in my head, even though we weren't going through the dungeon particularly quickly, I was imagining that we were rushing through this dungeon, like shambling into rooms, disrupting rituals, trying to find the next. It felt like it felt very like adrenaline inducing in my mind, imagining it, even though we were like very cautious doing it. And I think that's a really,
well, there was
really
an element of they knew you were there, so, and I think that was really cool. They knew you were there, and you battled your way through them to your goal. I'm really glad that the dungeon that killed you off was enjoyable.
on me. But I also want to also give it to the piano fight, because I think what was really cool about that fight is that like half of us wanted to fight and half of us wanted to flee, and we ended up staying and fighting and beating it. And I don't think from then onwards that the party ever questioned whether or not they were capable of doing something. We just picked and dropped quests we wanted to do. But I feel like that was a really defining moment in the party of, no, actually, we're all very capable and are very good together. So maybe we shouldn't question. Like, we should question whether or not we should do things, but not whether or not we can do something.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm sure. Oh, look, I've got a different image. Don't know what you're going to do with that. That's not what I was looking for, but why not?
Why are my ears so short?
It's the best I could do. Where is the...
It's like you already took one swing just up above.
I know. Yeah, I just ducked out of the way.
Oh, here we go. Here we go. This is what I was looking for. Let me just turn down.
I do like that it's a noose and an axe. They were just really going to take care of you.
Oh, like the piano fight, of course.
This was his home. There's that stupid noble cowering out there where he was teleported to. That was a cool moment. Mark, any moments that stand out to you?
Combat wise, it was in the last dungeon, because it's the moment where we had seen the like giant smashers and like the levers, and then like started like looking at where the half dragon was and where everybody was like, oh, I think I can do this thing. I think this might work. And then like it got to be my turn and like moved everybody around, got everybody out of safe, and then just smashed it. I was like, oh my god, that actually worked. That felt so good to like actually have that pay off. Was really fun. Like using Nikha's tools for that.
Right.
But then like story wise, I loved Eileen. I felt really strongly about her and like, you know, the stories that we ended up having with her. Whether it was like, you know, Corey trying to keep her secret horribly. And then like, you know, as we traveled along with her, you know, she was just kind of always there with us in the cart, getting her to a better life for herself. And then like, you know, us, you know, committing that like, you know, we would be in contact and like, you know, check in with her every once in a while. And I feel like Joey remembered at some point to like send a message to her as we were going somewhere dangerous. And just like, yeah, she was really cool. And I actually had this moment like right before last week's session where we were like, you know, talking about our characters. It's like, oh man, it would have been so cool if one of us had played an alchemist and been Eileen. Like Eileen coming out to the west. So like that would have been really fun. But yeah, I really liked her.
Good. And Rico. That's right.
Yes.
I haven't missed anybody else
That's
before that, have I? No. Okay, cool. I tried to do a 3, 2, 4, 5, 1 thing and it broke my brain. Rico, your moment.
So yeah, everything that's been said, of course. I guess some of the standout moments to me were just like a lot of the visual flair. Like everyone here is obviously great at putting their own spin and flavoring all of their spells. So some of the standout ones were actually the first time Vel'zekiss cast Shield. And sort of like this imagery of him putting up the egg, and then after the shield dissipating, him sort of, you know, being a little frightened, a little traumatized from his past was like just really cool, you know, insight into the character without him having to tell us anything about his character. Boxo actually casting alarm, and sort of just like physically placing the bells around the campsite. Like I just thought that it was just like a cool little spin on, you know, something that could just have been, you know, hand waved, and Josh could have just said, well, I cast alarm. So stuff like that was really cool. Toothy, or Jack as Toothy, just coming up with shit on the fly seemingly, and like it was as if he like just thought about it off the fly, but then he would go so deeply into the lore. And it was just like, did you prepare this for this moment at some point? Like, it was really impressive, Jack. I gotta give you props for that. And then, I mean, it's been said a million times, but I really do think that the death of Corey was sort of like a defining moment in this campaign. And like, as sad and disappointing as it is as a player, I guess, for Mark to have lost Corey, who was such a great character. Like it really turned the tide of the campaign, and like obviously we're all dead now, but I think that if we had all survived and moved forward, I think that like that was sort of the moment that we all realized we have to start taking shit seriously, if that makes sense. Like that we could be like, you know, country and or world saving heroes. Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, all great things come to an end, as does Chapter 1. We will, of course, perhaps continue in the future, but just a few little things that might have slipped the net. Gorban and his awakened pig living happily at a lighthouse. Bodlin, the thief, not J, but B. Bodlin, the thief, who
that's his name.
Pulled the wonderful Rides with Storms into his work. Bo, the orc that made it off into pirating. Patricia Foppolo, who still doesn't have a husband because you didn't find her one. the bartender Helena that you built a relationship with and then left for the rest of time. The Culver Lake cult who were recruiting all that time were a meditation and spa resort. In case anybody was wondering, just on the off chance. You guys did not find the slaver from Kalan who was capturing slaves in the Savage West. If you did, you would find out that he worked for the Sheik's father. The Sheik, you remember he said his father got rich being a ruthless prick. That was one of the primary ways he did it, selling prisoners of war, basically, and people in the Savage West on both sides of the war that were left abandoned. He sold them off to Kalan. There was various other moments where we passed intriguing stuff. You guys might have noticed the heir, Damian Marceline, going missing in Metella. Seemed to have the same name as a mysterious bandit, which you guys killed in a waterfall cave for a damn good reason, just in case that one passed by. And there were many, many other tales that we did not tell. But ultimately, the tales we did tell were something that I don't think I'll forget as long as I play D&D. Like, I think this campaign, you know, there were so many inter-party moments, there were so many journeys and steps that were taken. I think, you know, the fact that the party somehow worked together despite the, you know, we had 9 or 10 different characters across the campaign, from Railwind all the way through to Nikha. And yet, you know, it's been a real ride, and the journey does continue whilst this is the epilogue of Chapter 1. Chapter 2 will be revisited at a later date in the archipelago with Sir Fenric the Swift, Savior of the West, Champion of Gallania, Slayer of Dragons, and any other titles that he's collected along the way. But for now, we lay rest to Chapter 1. So for one last time, if you guys would like to say goodbye.
Goodbye.
Bye.
We shall see you in Tales of a Broken Land sometime in the somewhat maybe near distant future. See you soon.